Blitzscaling, the lightning-fast path to building massively valuable companies, by Reid, Hoffman, and Reid. Picture this. You're in your early 30s, and you've just poured everything you have into a business idea that everyone keeps telling you is absolutely bonkers. You've maxed out credit cards, survived on instant noodles, and faced countless rejections from investors who couldn't wrap their heads around why anyone would crash on a stranger's air mattress. But finally, things are looking up. Your scrappy 40-person company, Airbnb, just hit its millionth booking. The world is starting to get it. You can finally take a breath. Then the hammer drops. A trio of brilliant, ruthless German entrepreneurs, called the Samwar brothers, have completely cloned your business. Their version, Wimdu, just raised $90 million, more than 10 times what you've managed to scrape together. In mere weeks, they've hired 400 people and opened 20 offices across Europe. They're a juggernaut. Your friend Andrew Mason from Groupon, who's already tangled with these guys, looks you dead in the eye and says they're probably going to kill you. So what's your move? Every instinct screams fight, but you're massively outgunned, outmanned, and outfunded. The Samwars make you an offer. Hand over 25% of your company and they'll back off. A quarter of everything you've built. Do you swallow that bitter pill to survive, or do you bet it all on what looks like an impossible battle? This single moment captures the essence of one of the most powerful and misunderstood strategies in modern business. It's a strategy that values speed above everything else. Faster than efficiency, faster than certainty, faster than comfort. It's called blitzscaling. Today, we're diving deep into this concept from the groundbreaking book by Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn, and Reid. By the time we're done, you'll understand the secret playbook that lets tiny startups transform into global giants seemingly overnight. You'll learn not just what it is, but when to use it, how to manage the chaos it creates, and why playing it safe might actually be the riskiest move you can make. So what exactly is blitzscaling? The authors define it as prioritizing speed over efficiency in an environment of uncertainty. Let's unpack that, because every single word matters. Building a traditional company is like constructing a house. You need blueprints, the right contractors, a solid foundation. And you build it brick by careful brick. Everything's planned, it's efficient, it's predictable. Now imagine building a startup. The authors have this brilliant analogy. It's like jumping off a cliff and assembling an airplane on the way down. You're not chasing perfection. You're fighting for survival. You're scrambling to build just enough of a wing to catch some air before you splatter on the ground. That's typical startup growth, where you carefully manage resources because you're not even sure if this thing will fly. Blitzscaling takes it to another level entirely. You're jumping off that cliff, frantically assembling the plane mid-fall, and then, while you're still frantically bolting wings together, you strap on massive, untested jet engines and fire them up. It's terrifying, it's messy, it's wildly wasteful. You're burning fuel at an insane rate. The wings might tear off, the whole contraption might explode. But if it works, if everything holds together, you're not just gliding anymore. You're screaming forward at speeds nobody can match. You're not just building a company, you're launching a rocket ship. Why would anyone willingly choose this madness? The answer lies in what the authors call the networked age. Think about the companies dominating our lives right now. Facebook, Amazon, Uber, Google. What connects them? They all operate in markets where being the first to reach massive scale creates an almost insurmountable advantage. This is the, quote, first scaler advantage. It's powered by network effects. A network effect is beautifully simple, but incredibly powerful. A service gets more valuable as more people use it. The first person with a telephone had nobody to call. Totally useless. But with each new phone owner, the entire network became exponentially more valuable for everyone. Facebook is the modern poster child. Why are you on Facebook or Instagram? Because your friends are there. If some technically superior social network launched tomorrow, would you switch? Probably not, because your entire social circle would still be on Facebook. Facebook won by reaching massive scale first, creating powerful lock-in. In these winner-take-all or winner-take-most markets, second place gets nothing. As the book puts it, first prize in social networking was Facebook. Second prize was MySpace. Third prize was Friendster. Do you even remember Friendster? Exactly. Third prize means you're done. This brutal reality is what forced Brian Chesky's hand at Airbnb. He knew home sharing was a global, winner-take-most game. If Wimdu captured Europe, Airbnb might never recover. They'd be permanently locked out of a critical market. So Brian and his team made the terrifying call. They rejected the Samwers' offer. They decided to fight. They chose to blitzscale. They went out and raised $112 million. They went on a massive hiring spree. In spring 2012, they opened 9 international offices, from London to Moscow to Sao Paulo. It was chaotic. It was inefficient. It was, as Brian later admitted, a move their competitors forced on them. But it worked. By moving at breakneck speed, they outmaneuvered Wimdu and established Airbnb as the dominant global player. They strapped on those jet engines, and somehow the plane held together. This story highlights the first fundamental technique of blitzscaling, business model innovation. You can't just have a great product or clever technology. You need a business model designed for explosive growth from day one. The authors identify 4 key growth factors you must build in. First is market size. You need to be playing in a massive market. But it's not just about today's market size. The best entrepreneurs see how a market can become massive. When Uber started, many people sized its market as just the existing taxi industry. But Uber's convenience and lower cost didn't just steal taxi customers. It created an entirely new market. People started taking Ubers for trips they never would have taken a taxi for. The market expanded dramatically. As one venture capitalist famously tweeted, "Sizing the market for a disruptor based on an incumbent's market is like sizing the car industry off how many horses there were in 1910. The second growth factor is distribution. A great product with terrible distribution will almost always lose to a good product with great distribution. You have to figure out how to get your product into millions of hands, often without a massive marketing budget. The most powerful distribution techniques leverage existing networks and create virality. When PayPal was starting, they were in a fierce battle to become the Internet's payment system. Their secret weapon was eBay. At the time, eBay was already a massive online marketplace. PayPal created a simple button that eBay sellers could add to their listings. It was so easy that sellers adopted it in droves, even though eBay had its own competing payment service. PayPal cleverly tapped into eBay's massive existing network to distribute its own product. Then there's virality, where your users do the marketing for you. This happens when normal product use naturally brings in new users. When someone sends you money on PayPal, you have to sign up to receive it. When a colleague shares a Dropbox folder, you're invited to join. The product itself becomes the engine of its own growth. Dropbox supercharged this by offering incentives, refer a friend, and you both get extra free storage. This combination was so powerful that Dropbox grew from 100,000 users to 1 million in just 7 months after launch. The third growth factor is high gross margins. This sounds technical, but the idea is simple. Gross margin is the money left over from a sale after paying direct production costs. Software companies are famous for this. Once you've written the code, making another copy is virtually free. That means almost every dollar from a sale can be reinvested into growth, hiring engineers, expanding to new markets. A business with low margins, like a grocery store, has very little cash from each sale to fund explosive growth. This is why a company like Facebook, with its 87% gross margin, can afford massive multi-billion-dollar bets on things like virtual reality with Oculus. The fourth and perhaps most powerful growth factor is network effects, which we touched on earlier. This is the magic ingredient creating those winner-take-all markets. It's what makes Facebook, Facebook. It's what makes Uber, Uber. The more riders using Uber in a city, the more drivers are attracted. The more drivers available, the shorter the wait times for riders. This creates a positive feedback loop, a flywheel that gets stronger with scale. making it nearly impossible for new competitors to break in. But designing for growth isn't enough. You also have to design your business to overcome two critical growth limiters. First is lack of product-market fit. This famous Silicon Valley concept simply means having a product that a market desperately wants. Without this, no amount of marketing or money will save you. You'll be pushing a boulder uphill. When you have it, it feels like the market is pulling the product from your hands. The demand is unstoppable. The challenge is you often can't know for sure until you launch. This brings us to one of the most counterintuitive blitzscaling rules. Launch a product that embarrasses you. Reid Hoffman admits that with his first startup, SocialNet, he waited a full year to launch because he wanted perfection. When it finally launched, he realized half the features were useless and the other half of what people actually wanted was missing. He'd learned in a vacuum. With LinkedIn, he launched the minimum viable product as quickly as possible. It was embarrassing. It barely worked. But it let them start learning from real users immediately, and that learning was more valuable than any amount of internal planning. The second growth limiter is operational scalability. This is whether your company can actually handle the growth. If you get 1 million new users overnight, will your servers crash? This happened to early social network Friendster. It grew so fast, the site became unusably slow, with pages taking 40 seconds to load. Users fled to faster competitor MySpace, and Friendster became a ghost town. Twitter almost suffered the same fate with its infamous fail whale error screen, but they managed to re-engineer their systems just in time. It's not just technology, it's people. Can you hire, train, and manage people fast enough to keep up? Blitzscaling a company from 10 people to 100, then to 1,000 in just a couple years, puts incredible strain on an organization. This is where the second key technique comes in: strategy innovation. Strategy innovation in blitzscaling means making choices that feel deeply uncomfortable and often contradict traditional business wisdom. It's about knowing when to hit the accelerator, even when the road ahead is foggy. The most critical strategic decision is deciding when to start blitzscaling. You don't do it from day one. First, you need product-market fit. But once you have it, and you see a massive opportunity with a first scalar advantage up for grabs, that's when you make the call. The most common trigger is competition. Just like with Airbnb, the moment you realize someone else can seize the opportunity first, the risk of moving too slowly becomes greater than the risk of moving too fast and failing. This strategic mindset also changes how you think about money. Traditional advice is to be lean and careful with cash. The blitzscaling rule is to raise too much money. Why? Because that excess cash is your war chest. It's your safety net. It buys you options. It lets you survive unexpected market downturns, make aggressive acquisitions, or simply outspend competitors into submission. When you're blitzscaling, you're intentionally being inefficient. You're burning cash on purpose to achieve speed. Having deep capital reserves isn't just nice to have, it's fuel for the jet engines. This leads us to the third and final core technique: management innovation. This is perhaps the most challenging part of blitzscaling because it's about people, culture, and leadership. And as a company grows at dizzying pace, everything about how you manage has to change. The book breaks this down into stages using a powerful metaphor. Stage 1 is the family. This is 1 to 9 employees. Everyone knows everyone. Communication is informal. You can make decisions over lunch. The founder is a hands-on doer, personally pulling all the levers. Stage 2 is the tribe, with tens of employees. You might not know everyone's life story, but you recognize every face. A single weekly all-hands meeting keeps everyone in sync. Here, the founder transitions from doer to manager of doers. Stage 3 is the village, with hundreds of employees. Now you're walking down the hall, seeing faces you don't recognize. You can't manage everyone directly. Communication breaks down unless you build formal systems. This is the stage where you move from managing people to designing an organization that can run itself. It's a huge, often painful leap for founders. Stage 4 is the city, with thousands of employees. The founder's role is now almost entirely high-level strategy and vision. Think of Mark Zuckerberg deciding to pivot the entire 4,000-person company to focus on mobile. He wasn't coding the app, but he was setting direction for the entire city. Stage 5 is the nation, with tens of thousands of employees. Here, the challenge is keeping the company from becoming slow and bureaucratic. The goal is to act like a nation-state, launching new blitzscaling initiatives, like new product lines or business units, to find the next growth wave. Think of Apple, a dominant nation in personal computers, launching a new blitzscaling campaign with the iPod, then another with the iPhone. Navigating these stages requires unlearning many things that made you successful in early days. The book outlines a series of key transitions and counterintuitive rules for this. One of the most profound is the transition from pirate to navy. In the early days, a startup needs to be a pirate. Pirates are scrappy, move fast, break rules, stay on offense. They have nothing to lose. The original Macintosh team famously flew a pirate flag over their building to signify their rebellious, go-for-broke spirit. But as you succeed, you're no longer a pirate ship attacking the Royal Navy. You are the Navy. You have territory to defend. You have a reputation to protect. You have responsibilities. The reckless, rule-breaking behavior that served you well as a pirate can become a catastrophic liability as a Navy. You have to start playing defense as well as offense. You have to build processes, create structure, and establish a code of conduct. We've seen this play out in real time with companies like Uber. In its early days, its aggressive, pirate-like culture helped it conquer city after city. But as it grew into a global nation, that same culture led to a series of scandals threatening the entire company. The transition from pirate to Navy isn't just strategic. It's a deep cultural evolution, essential for long-term survival. This journey also requires profound personal transformation for the founder. You have to scale yourself. The skills getting you from family stage to tribe stage won't get you to village or city. The authors say you have to constantly keep your personal learning curve ahead of the company's growth curve. You do this 3 ways: delegation, learning to let go and trust others to do the work; amplification, hiring people like a chief of staff whose job is making you more effective; and finally, by becoming a learning machine yourself, constantly seeking mentors and experts who can help you see around the next corner. To manage this chaotic journey, the authors offer 9 counterintuitive rules that flip traditional management wisdom upside down. We've already touched on a few, like hiring M's right now, not M's right. Hiring for skills you need today to survive the current stage, not skills you think you'll need 5 years from now. And launching a product that embarrasses you. Another crucial one is to let fires burn. When you're blitzscaling, 100 things are going wrong at any given time. You have more fires than firefighters. You have to make the gut-wrenching decision to let smaller, non-existential fires burn, so you can focus all resources on the 1 or 2 fires that will actually destroy the company if left unchecked. At PayPal, customer service was a raging fire. The support inbox overflowed with thousands of angry emails. But the team knew if they couldn't solve their massive fraud problem, costing them millions of dollars they didn't have, there would be no company left to provide customer service for. They let the customer service fire burn while focusing on the existential threat of fraud. It was painful, but right. This often means you have to ignore your customers, at least short-term. Conventional wisdom says the customer is always right. The blitzscaling reality is, if you're growing exponentially, you simply won't have bandwidth to provide perfect service to everyone. You provide what you can, as long as it doesn't slow your growth. You also have to embrace the chaos. You have to tolerate bad management. Reorganizations happen constantly. Roles change overnight. There's no time for 5-year plans when the entire landscape shifts every 6 months. The internal chaos, strange as it sounds, actually makes the organization more resilient and adaptable to external chaos of a rapidly changing market. And finally, you have to realize your culture must evolve. The scrappy, informal culture working for a 10-person family will break down in a 1,000-person city. The culture needs to be explicitly defined, communicated, and reinforced through who you hire, promote, and fire. The authors use the metaphor of the ship of Theseus, the ancient paradox about a ship whose planks are replaced one by one until no original wood remains. Is it still the same ship? A blitzscaling company is like that ship. As you grow, nearly everyone from the early days will eventually be replaced by new people. The one thing allowing the company to retain its identity, its soul, is its culture. It's the invisible thread connecting past to future. But this raises a critical question. In this relentless pursuit of speed and growth, what happens to responsibility? The final, perhaps most important part of the book deals with responsible blitzscaling. The authors are clear. The immense power that blitzscaling companies wield comes with immense responsibility. These companies don't just exist in society, they actively shape it. Facebook changes how we communicate. Amazon changes how we shop. Airbnb changes the fabric of our cities. The authors argue that blitzscaling isn't inherently good or bad, but it magnifies the impact of founders' intentions. The speed of growth means small, early decisions about ethics and values can have massive, unforeseen consequences down the road. They offer a framework for thinking about risk. You have to learn to distinguish between a small, manageable fire and a systemic risk that could harm not just your company, but society as a whole. Issues like data privacy or misinformation spread on social media might start as small fires, but at the scale of a company like Facebook, they become systemic risks to democracy itself. Responsible blitzscaling means thinking about these potential negative consequences from day one. It means building a diverse and inclusive culture from the beginning, because trying to fix a homogeneous bro culture when you have 10,000 employees is nearly impossible. It means understanding that at a certain point, you're no longer just a business leader, you're a societal leader, and your decisions must reflect the well-being of the community you operate in, not just your bottom line. In the end, blitzscaling is more than just a business strategy. It's a mindset for a world moving faster than ever before. It's recognition that change is the only constant, and the greatest risk is standing still. It's a terrifying, chaotic, and exhilarating ride. It's a race to the future. And for those brave enough to embrace it, it offers the chance, not just to build a massively valuable company, but to fundamentally change the world. As we step back and look at the vast landscape Reid Hoffman and Chris Ye have painted for us, it's clear that blitzscaling is more than just a business book. It's a field guide to the 21st century. It's an explanation for the bewildering speed at which our world now operates, and a playbook for anyone who wants to build something meaningful within it. The most powerful lesson, for me, is the radical reframing of risk. For generations, we were taught that risk is something to minimize. Prudence, caution, and careful planning were the virtues of a sound business person. Blitzscaling flips this upside down. It teaches us that in certain specific contexts becoming more and more common, the greatest risk is not taking enough risk. The greatest danger is caution. It's the slow, careful company that gets left behind, becoming a footnote in the story of the fast, chaotic one that won. This is a profound lesson, not just for a company founder, but for anyone starting a project, a career, or a new chapter in life. It forces you to ask, am I playing in a game where speed matters? And if I am I moving fast enough? The book also serves as a powerful reminder that brilliant ideas aren't enough. Execution is everything, and in the modern world, the most important component of execution is speed. The stories of Friendster losing to MySpace and MySpace losing to Facebook are cautionary tales about the fleeting nature of a head start. It's not about being the first mover, it's about being the first scaler. So how can you apply these massive, world-changing ideas to your own life right now? You don't need to be raising millions of dollars to adopt the blitzscaling mindset. Here are a few simple places to start. First, identify one area of your life, a project, a skill you're learning, a goal you have, where speed could give you a decisive advantage. Maybe it's learning to code, building a portfolio, or launching a small online store. Now ask yourself the Blitzscaling question. What would I do differently if I had to achieve my one-year goal in the next 3 months? What corners would I cut? What inefficiencies would I tolerate? What embarrassing first version could I launch this week? Just thinking through this exercise forces you to separate what's essential from what's merely comfortable. Second, practice letting a small fire burn. We all have to-do lists filled with tasks that feel urgent, but aren't truly important. Pick one of those fires, like organizing your desktop or responding to a non-critical email, and consciously decide to let it burn for a few days. Use that reclaimed time and mental energy to focus exclusively on the one task that will move you closer to your most important goal. This is small-scale practice in the ruthless prioritization that Blitzscaling demands. And third, start building your personal board of directors. Who are the people 1, 5, and 10 years ahead of you on the path you want to follow? You don't need to ask them to be your formal mentors. Just reach out. Ask for a 15-minute conversation. Come prepared with specific questions. The core of scaling yourself is learning from others, mistakes and successes, so you can accelerate your own journey. That was a deep dive into the core ideas of Blitzscaling by Reid Hoffman and Chris Ye. We've covered the lightning-fast path these authors lay out, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only take you so far. The real magic happens when you hold the book in your hands. It's in the quiet moments, when a particular story or simple phrase connects with your own ambitions in a way you didn't expect. This journey today was designed to help you decide if this book is worth your time. If anything we've discussed has sparked a fire in you, grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning a strategy. It's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see the world and your place within it. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it gave you a new perspective, please take a moment to click that subscribe button. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.